I need an iced coffee now. I have punch in this cup and it kind of looks like blood. Are you a coffee or tea person? Hi. Hello. Welcome back to my witch obsession. And in today's pick a card, pick a deck reading, we will be asking the question, why are people obsessed with you? I've been seeing people do this reading kind of like just floating around on YouTube and I was like, obsession is so my thing, so let me go ahead and do the reading myself. But today's reading I feel is a little bit more like exciting for me because these four decks, listen guys, I love my tarot decks. Okay, I love every single one of them. But the chokehold that each one of these decks you see right here individually had on me was absurd. I I truly believe that they are like I don't even know what it was about them. The way I coveted these decks was it stands out compared to when I coveted the other decks. Because when I buy a deck, it's usually because I've been obsessing over it for a prolonged period of time. But the way I obsessed over these guys was crazy. Oh my god. I've never seen anything like it. I'm very obsessive and I can't buy something, I can't do anything if I'm not like 100% into it, you know? And like, you know, I can like get myself to do things, but then like afterwards I feel like gross about it because it's like, oh, like I just like did that 50% when it could have been 100%. But yeah. Okay, so today we have four piles, as you can see by now, but we have pile 1 with the Golden Thread Tarot, pile 2 with the Rainbow Heart Tarot, pile 3 with the Pastel Journey Tarot, and pile 4 with the Pink Pain Tarot. If you have already chosen your pile, you know, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Timestamps are in the description box below. See you at your reading. And if you'd like a personal reading, I do offer those in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below in the description box. So yeah. Other than that, if you like to sit and listen to me ramble for a little bit, then hi. Oh my gosh, you guys. I've been procrastinating filming like all day. It's like 2, almost 3 o'clock. Usually I start around like noon. But I don't know, like I was just feeling really emotional earlier. And oh my gosh, you guys, before anything, so I took a nap yesterday. I had to tell you guys about it because I tell you guys everything. But yesterday, I took a nap. I didn't mean to. I accidentally took off my glasses, laid down, and closed my eyes. So, you know, as a result, I accidentally fell asleep. And it was the most rejuvenating nap of my entire life. I woke up, my skin looked amazing, my hair looked okay, I felt amazing. I was like gently happy. I felt like flower petals floating on a calm body of water on a spring morning. It was crazy. I had never experienced anything like that before. But yeah. And also, like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like lately I've been finding it's been so much easier to find emotional solace within the moment, within different things, whether it be music, food, or anything that's related to materialism because I am a Taurus moon. But I've been really grateful. I've been going on these walks with my bestie, and I've also been watching the sunsets whenever possible. I don't know, like, it's just so nice. And I feel like last night or actually these past few days, I've really been thinking about my ex and stuff. I really got sad about it. Dare I say I missed them, but also at the same time, I admitted to myself that I feel very comfortable with this moving on process, and I feel very comfortable knowing that I'm moving on no matter, or any area of my life, honestly. It's not even just about that, you know, just other areas of my life. I just feel comfortable moving forward, moving on from things that made me feel horrible, made me feel disgusting, because as frustrating as the healing process is, it's just so much better than being stuck in a situation where you're unappreciated or frustrated or just in general very stressed out, you know? And just knowing that you are no longer a part of a sort of turbulence or something that doesn't reflect your true worth, just knowing that has brought me so much solace. And it feels like I'm in the eye of the hurricane right now. And I feel like I'm able to really take a second and slow down now whenever I feel overwhelmed, because I simply know that it's all part of the process, and that I would much rather get overwhelmed, overstimulated in the moving on process than to stress out in comfort. You know what I mean? And I don't know, it's just, I didn't really know what I was going to ramble about today, because I just feel like it's one of those things where it's really hard to put into word, but obviously I like to try and put everything into words, because like, you guys aren't in my brain. I mean, maybe you are, but it's just the way it is. And I feel like I just feel a lot better, and I feel a lot more comfortable. And I've also been trying to cut back on my social media usage. Oh my gosh, you guys. For me, the weirdest things changed my entire routine. Like, you can tell me time and time again social media is bad for you and the scrolling is bad for you. I will still not stop, okay? I'm very addictive and I'm very obsessive. Yes, I am. And it's very funny, because the littlest things will tick me off and be like, oh my gosh, I need to change everything. For example, my whole life, I've known that my phone is the dirtiest object in this world. It is the filthiest thing ever. I knew I needed to clean it, I just didn't do it. But then one day of my junior year, or I think it was junior year, or I forgot, I think it was junior year of high school, we were in this class and the teacher was like, your phone has more bacteria than a toilet seat. I don't know what it was about that just set me off, but now I clean my phone like 2 to 3 times a day ever since, every single day. This is the bottle I use for it. It's just, I keep rubbing alcohol in it and I clean it off with a towel. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the other day I was scrolling through Instagram and this post was like, mindlessly scrolling will fry your dopamine receptors. And I don't know what it was about the word frying that just really freaked me out. And I was like, I need to fix my life right now. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm the same way in so many different ways, you know? I feel like if you don't present something pretty, then I'm not going to buy it. But if you also present something really horrendous, then I will like completely change the course of my life, you know? It's just, I don't know. I feel like for me, like, the more colorful the vocabulary and the more vivid the imagery is on something, the more likely I am to listen to what it's saying, you know? It's like, I don't know, like, I just feel like it's just like how I am. I feel like I'm such a visual creature, and I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely one thing, and I've noticed that getting off social media, because I don't like when people post online, they're like, I did a social media detox, or I completely cut off social media from my life. Here's what it did. And it's clearly just like, I don't know, it comes off as like kind of performative to me, or it just comes off as very unrealistic to me, because there are people out there that cannot get rid of social media. There are people out there that have to work on social media. There are people that can only keep in touch with their friends on social media. So it's like, I just feel like it's one of those things, again, where it makes people feel bad for using something that's inevitable, you know? And I know, I'm not saying that they're in the wrong. I think that social media is bad for you, but I just feel like in this new day and age, it's very unrealistic to completely not be on social media, especially when you are a part of something that directly solicits, that like requires you to be on social media, you know? It's a very nuanced topic, and I'm not saying there's a right or wrong in it, but I'm just saying that there's way more gray to it than what people are trying to make it out to be. So like, I just feel like for me personally, there's nothing wrong with going on social media and like, you know, watching a few TikToks here and there, watching a few posts and stuff like that. That's just how it is. Like, it's unavoidable at this point, you know? And now when I try to consume social media content, I try to stick to YouTube, because the videos here are obviously longer, so I just feel like it's better for my attention span and it helps me pay attention more, you know, instead of watching like these 10-second clips of people doing crazy things and then scroll and there's another 10-second clip of like a baby raccoon dying and then I start crying and then the next one I start laughing. Like, that's just not normal, you know? But yeah. I don't know. I just feel like lately I've been trying to improve my mental health through very like subtle changes in my life that are like really effective. I don't know. I just want to get back to like a different state of my life. Like, I used to be able to read books, you guys. I still read books, but it's a lot harder for me to get into that vibe, you know? I don't know. I don't know. It's like this ramble is all over the place, but that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. See you at your reading. I don't know. Bye. See you there. Like, hello, pile one. If you chose the Golden Thread Tarot, this is going to be your reading for why are people obsessed with you. So, while I'm shuffling, I want to tell you about my obsession with this deck. I'm just gonna tell every single pile like what. Anyways, when I first seen this deck, I think it was on this ASMR channel. Her name is Mauve ASMR. And when I first seen it, oh my gosh, it was love at first sight. I turned the world upside down to look for this deck because it wasn't on Etsy. I couldn't find it anywhere. Then I found Labyrinthos, which is the website that sells this. And when I tell you I bought it right then and there, it was this one morning that I finally found it because I had been pining over this deck for like a month and a half, I think, and I couldn't find it. And I thought I was just never going to have it. But then I found it. And then when I had it, when I first got it, oh my gosh, guys. When I tell you, I took it everywhere with me. It went in the car with me. I took it with me to the store. I took it with me everywhere. I don't know what it was. And I remember it was like this era of my life where I would listen to this song by Sunshine by Sia. And I was reading this book called Yes and I Love You. Oh my gosh. And now all three of those things remind me of one or the other thing. This deck it had me in a chokehold. I would have done anything for this deck. I don't know what it was, guys. Anyways, why are people obsessed with pile one? I hope you enjoyed that little anecdote. Why are people obsessed with pile one? Okay, first few cards we have Six of Wands and the World. So I feel like with the Six of Wands, that gave me Aries energy for some reason. We also have Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck. I almost wonder if with the Eight of Cups, a lot of people that are obsessed with you are no longer like present in your life. And I don't mean like that they like are, you know what I mean? But I mean like, you know, the people that you've dropped, people that you've cut off. And I feel like with the World card, maybe with the Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck, maybe there are people that don't like there's physical distance between you two, you know. I don't know why I'm having such trouble getting these words out, but basically what I'm trying to say here is that there could be people abroad or people over like social media or just people that don't live near you that are very obsessed with you, especially if you have traveled or especially if you are somebody that goes out frequently, just because I feel like there are a lot of people that have seen first glimpses of you and it's like love at first sight kind of vibes. And it doesn't even have to be like, you know, love at first sight, like romance kind of vibes, but more so, you know, they just like, they want to be friends with you, they want to get to know you, they want to know where you're from, they want to know who you are. And maybe with the World card, I got this specific message, but maybe some of you guys are very educated culturally, or you guys are very culturally ambiguous. And I feel like the reason I'm mentioning that is because like obviously the World card to me deals with, you know, like the physical world, you know, like Earth. And I don't know, just something about that gives me this vibe that there are a lot of people that want to learn more about you and learn more about your beliefs and what you do and how you just like go about the day to day. And I also feel like with the Six of Wands, there are some people that are people get obsessed with you because you're so like validated. You know, you're like a hype man. People get obsessed with you because you're just so good at pointing out the details. So you could also be a Virgo or just like have like Virgo and Aries in a chart. So especially in like the Virgo, not the Mars placement. So maybe you guys have like an Aries or a Virgo Mars or just like a fiery or earthy Mars. And I just feel like there's something about, or you could have like a Mercury and like Mars aspect. Maybe like Mercury conjunct Mars. That doesn't have to be like, okay, it doesn't matter whether or not you have these placements, but it's just, I just feel like that energy is present here, you know? And also, I just think it's very funny how jumbled my words are right now. Like, I feel like I'm going insane right now. My brain is, like, fried right now. Like, I don't know what it is. I just feel like a lot of people, maybe they stutter around you, or people just, they feel like they have so much more to say to you. I feel like maybe people, like, dump to you a lot, or you just meet someone and they tell you their entire life story within the first 15 minutes of meeting you. Like, I don't know, you talk to your waiter or waitress, and within the first 3 minutes of knowing you, like, you leave that restaurant knowing about their divorced parents, what they've gone through, their childhood trauma, and this one weird experience they had with peanut butter. It's just like, you know everything about them. So that makes me wonder if you have, like, a water placement in your chart, so like a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, especially Scorpio and Pisces, because I feel like Scorpio and Pisces placements always attract people like that. Or you could have like 12th or 8th house influence within your chart. I don't know. I just feel like all of these energies are very relevant, and because I just feel like they're very powerful placements. They're very dominant placements in one's chart, and it doesn't really matter if you actually do have those placements. It's more so for the people that need the extra confirmation. But I just feel like those energies are reflective of the energy that you give off, of one that is very dominant, one that is very intimidating and very magnetic. Especially magnetic. I think that is the best word to describe you, pile one. You probably draw people like magnets. Like, I don't know what it is. And I just feel like I also feel like with the Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck, people sense that, like, maybe you're a loner or you're just somebody who doesn't like to be around people that much. So I just feel like people feel some sort of way about you because of that. I feel like there's a lot of people that maybe get insecure around you, or people. So I just feel like with this being said, I think that the way people react to you is very different and very dynamic depending on who it is. And what I mean by that is I just feel like people either love you or they absolutely hate you. Like, I feel like people that love you are so obsessed with you, they want to get your name tattooed. And the people that hate you, they just want to see you fail in every single way possible. And I think that you are intuitive enough to know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Because I just feel like you really do shed a lot of light on people, and I feel like you are sometimes an uncomfortable person to be around if you're very insecure, just because I feel like you bring those insecurities out of people, and I don't think that none of this is like something that you do on purpose, it's just like this subtle energy that coerces people, and it just like sways them in a specific direction. And I feel like maybe a lot of the time with that intimidation factor that I have been kind of like pointing at here, with that being said, I feel like a lot of people try to intimidate you. So maybe a lot of people try to talk over you, or like, raise their voice at you, or people that try to like one up you and stuff like that. It's because they are intimidated by you and they're obsessed with you. I'm not gonna lie. It's true. Your biggest haters are your biggest fans. Let's be real here. And let me just pull some more cards. I need more context. We also have Strength and the Two of Swords. I feel like the Two of Swords is a very interesting card to pull in a reading like this, simply because I feel like it has a weird way of fitting. But I feel like the Two of Swords kind of talks about how maybe people are at odds as to whether or not they love or hate you. I feel like that Two of Swords energy definitely embodies that whole concept of people having one or the other reaction towards you, either loving you or hating you. But I feel like regardless of who, I think that it doesn't matter who it is. I think that with the Strength card, it's pretty easy to say that across the board, people recognize you and people know that you are a formidable opponent, or you're a very formidable and intimidating person. Because I just feel like with the Strength card and Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck, it just shows that, like, you are somebody who has left a lot of things behind, and you are somebody who has quite possibly seen the worst. I almost wonder if you have Capricorn in your chart just because of this. Capricorn and Scorpio. Like, I just feel like those placements together. I'm also picking up on Leo. I don't know. I think that obviously, like, all zodiac signs are present here, but there's just something about Capricorn, Scorpio, and Leo as I'm mentioning this, especially with the Strength card. But yeah, lots of like cardinal plus fixed, not as much mutable, I'd say. I feel like if you do have mutable placements, it would be kind of like amongst your more like your personal planets as opposed to your big three. But take that for whatever it is. I just feel like with the Two of Swords too, there's something about it that just shows that like people are obsessed with you because they don't know how to feel about you. I don't know what it is. Like, they want to figure you out, Oh my gosh, that provided a lot. I feel like with the Two of Swords and Eight of Cups, there's a lot of people that maybe have come and go into your life simply thinking that they could figure out in one fell swoop, and I don't think that it worked. So take that for what it is. And also, with the strength card, it just really shows me that, like, you're somebody who perseveres and you really give it your all for people, you know, especially with the Six of Wands, you know. It's just like people really know that you'll give it your all for them, or that you're somebody that once you trust somebody, like, you're 100%. And also, I feel like I keep drawing up these blanks here, or I keep kind of like coming to like these dead ends within my speech, just because I feel like there are certain points where it feels like there's nothing that I can really like, there's no room for further explanation. I don't know how to describe it. And I feel like I'm pointing that out because it seems as if though there's a lot of people that once again are trying to figure you out, and I feel like they get obsessed with trying to figure you out. They probably, I don't know what it is. They may ask friends about you, they may talk about you a lot, gossip about you a lot, or simply like go through your social media if you're active on there. Just something about that, you know. Just something about people really trying to data mine your life, and people really getting into your business because they're very curious about as to what you kind of do on a day-to-day basis, or, you know, just what you've gone through, you know, your history, anything, you know. I feel like the possibilities and what people want to know about you are simply endless, because I just feel like depending on who the person is and why they were attracted to you, it's just like the reasons for why they want to get to know you more or figure you out more are pretty ambiguous. But the point is that they definitely do want to know about you more, and they definitely want to figure you out more, you know. It's like, it makes me think of like when a video game comes out, or like before a video game comes out, you know how they do all those leaks and they do all those like teasers, you know. I feel like that's the kind of same vibe that people get when that's why they're obsessed with you, because like there's just like, there's so much that could be interpreted from what little they know about you, you know. And it's just like there's so much that like they could chalk up, and the possibilities are endless as to who you are, what you're doing, and what you're like. And perhaps the people that are like, and I think that like, what I was gonna say is the people that do know you, they do know a lot about you because obviously they're close to you. But I also feel like they are just as curious, and they are just as like, figuring out more about you doesn't necessarily mean that the craving for the information and data about you becomes satiated. In fact, I feel like it becomes even more insatiable, because I just feel like it seems as if though it gets addicting to figure more about you, or it becomes like a borderline obsession, if you know what I mean. It's not like that's in the topic of the title or anything, you know. But, you know, I just feel like it's one of those things that when one question is answered about you, instead of like, you know, the question is being answered, it more so answers the question with a gazillion more questions, you know. It's just like people are like, oh, like, do you like to read, you know? And then you'll be like, oh yeah, you know. And instead of them be like, oh, so they do like to read, it's like, okay, but how often do they like to read, and where do they like to get their books? Do they have a library card? Like, what's their favorite book ever, you know? Who's their favorite author, you know? Like, do they listen to music? Do they like drinking coffee when they, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like never ending, and it's just like people become exponentially more curious about you, and they want to kind of just like figure you out, but it feels almost impossible. And I feel like that obsessive energy kind of comes in there, because it's just like they want to achieve that, you know. They want to achieve knowing you at a deeper level, you know. And I feel like it's one of those things where like you may not feel it. You may not feel like you're necessarily a very like like, not like in a rude way, but like I feel like maybe sometimes you guys don't really feel this way, or you don't feel like you are as magnetic as you are, you know. And it's one of those things where like it just makes people even more curious, you know, because it's like you're not intentionally magnetic or intentionally just like this like emotionally, whatever it may be, ambiguous person. And that just makes people even more curious, you know. I almost wonder if some people that become obsessed with you are the people that struggle with their own identity, so they hyperfixate on you as opposed to themselves. So at the end of the day, it just is like a really big projection. And yeah, I just feel like this can all be described by the Two of Swords here, because I just feel like that Two of Swords embodies that confusing and kind of that energy of wanting to know more, not having enough information, or just being kind of like on the fence about something because you lack information, you know? It makes me think that like there's a lot of people that have developed crushes on you. There was this one TikTok I saw, and this girl, and she was like, this is your reminder that a crush is just a lack of information. Do with what you will with that statement, but I just feel like that is so your vibe. People do not know enough about you as much as they like, and probably because of that, you've had a lot of people that become obsessed with you, or like, you know, like in love with you even, you know. You doubt it, but it's tea. Quick little story here. There is this person that used to be in my health class freshman year. I was so obsessed with this person, you guys. It was creepy, okay? It was very creepy. I used to sit there and watch him play 2048 and Plants vs. Zombies on his phone and like the Chromebook every single day. And like, I never spoke a word to him. I've never had a single conversation with this person. He didn't even look at me. It was crazy. It was something else. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because you may say, oh, like, yo, like, you know, like, do you really? No, there are people out there that have been obsessed with you full on, like, full blown, like, they created, like, a shrine for you. I wouldn't even be surprised. It makes me think of that episode of Family Guy where Meg created this entire shrine for Brian because she was, like, obsessed with him. It was crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people embody that energy with you. And I think that with the Two of Swords is just, it tells so much here. Because I feel like some people realize that they are very, like, drawn towards you. And maybe at times they feel a little bit freaked out by it. Or they're like, oh my gosh, this is so creepy of me, you know? But you don't really realize it, you know? And I feel like these people have trouble realizing that too. I think that the people that do catch themselves, like, you know, like, floating towards you, like, moth to a flame vibe, they just, like, they don't know what, when they realize it, they're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, I've really lost myself, you know? What else do we have here? We also have the Tower and Five of Swords. Yeah, I feel like with the Tower card, it kind of shows like that cliche like tower moment when people first meet you, you know? It's kind of like that jump scare vibe, or like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you see someone and you've never seen anything like them before, and it just like, you just like can't stop staring. But I also feel like the Tower card kind of like definitely talks about what I was just saying about how people kind of realize what they're like doing when they are just like, you know, like obsessing over you, or, you know, like trying to figure you out, you know? And with the Five of Swords, I feel like there's a lot of people that have had to like cut off their journey, or people that have just kind of exited your life very quietly because like they just felt like it was very unhealthy, you know? It was very unhealthy for them because it's just, they felt like they were being starved, but that's mostly because the craving to know more about you was so like, it was so much bigger than what they perceive it to be, and because of that, it comes off in a way that's like you're starving them, you know? And what I mean by starving is like emotionally or something like that, because it's like, it's one of those things where like pile one, no matter how much you give out to the people, or no matter how much you give to somebody, I feel like they'll continuously want more and more, you know? And I just feel like this is more so for like the codependent people, or people that have like an unhealthy obsession, you know? I think that that's kind of where the reading has turned. I feel like the people that have an unhealthy obsession with you is very like, they cannot satiate the hunger. It is crazy, you know? But I feel like for the people that are, you know, able to stay around in your life, and people that are, you know, like people that are like normally obsessed, I don't know. I feel like the Six of Wands definitely says that like there are people in your life that feel very grateful to be in your life. They feel like you're a very, you know, powerful person, somebody with strong influence, somebody with a lot of strength, somebody with a lot of, you know, influence, and just somebody who's very popular. Whether or not you feel like it, or whether or not you literally are popular, they just feel like there's something about you that's very regal, and something about you that's very powerful and very admirable, you know? So because of that, I feel like with the Six of Wands and the World card, there's people in your life that are obsessed with you in a very healthy way, in the sense that they're very honored to be in your circle. They are very flattered to be a part of your life, and that they're very grateful, you know. They find a lot of fulfillment and happiness being around you. And it's just like, it becomes sometimes borderline like, what would I do without pile one, you know? Like, I wouldn't be able to live without pile one. And so with that being said, I feel like you attract a lot of kindred spirits, or I feel like you attract a lot of people that, you know, you probably aren't the person that has like a billion friends. I feel like you probably have like 1, 2, or 3 friends that are like your ride or dies, you know? And I just feel like that's kind of once again, the energy that you embody of, they either love you or hate you. And I think that that's why you kind of need to, you probably weed people out like that, especially with the 5 of Swords and the 2 of Swords, and maybe even the Tower card, but especially with the 8 of Cups too. And I just feel like all these cards really indicate somebody who isn't afraid to cut other people off when they are no longer serving them, you know? I'm gonna get a sip of my drink. Whew. I just feel like it gives me this energy of, if somebody you feel isn't showing up 100% to the relationship, if you feel that they are only like 99.9% in, I feel like you're the kind of person to distance yourself, because I just think that you take your relationships very seriously. You take your connections to the next level, and you are just not interested in being around somebody that you can't be fully yourself around, or somebody that you can't fully express yourself with, you know? And I think that this is another reason why people are obsessed with you. I feel like there are people that are very, like, they get obsessed with the idea of trying to please you, you know? So I feel like maybe you've attracted a lot of manipulative people that maybe manipulate through like people pleasing, or through trying to change themselves or lie to you or something like that. And I just feel like there's a thrill that comes out of it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there's something very thrilling of getting to know you and trying to, like, you know, like, break your walls down, you know? And I feel like that's such a Capricorn thing. Once again, it doesn't matter if you have Capricorn in your chart or not, but I just feel like that Capricorn energy, like, people don't really talk about it. Like, I feel like it's very easy to get obsessed with Capricorns, because, especially when you're, like, an emotional person yourself, because they just embody, like, this detached energy, but, like, you know, like, they're, like, sensitive, so it's like, oh my gosh, I want to get to the pulp, you know? I want to get to the middle of the coconut. Yes, I do. But it's very difficult to do so, and many fail, you know? And I just feel like you know, like, when I say you know, I'm saying that you know when someone is ingenuine, or somebody who, like, when someone's lying to you, you know? We have Death, yeah, Scorpio energy. And we also have 9 of Swords. I definitely feel like the 9 of Swords is referencing what I was just talking about, in the sense that, like, there are people, you know, when people are lying, and I feel like this gives some people a lot of anxiety, you know? And I feel like some people get obsessed with you because, in a way, that's like they're very paranoid, or they're very nervous, you know, because they don't want you to figure it out, you know? I feel like there's a lot of people that have white lie to you, or people that kind of like put a lot of like small lies to you, you know? Like, for example, this is such a random example, but maybe you'll ask somebody like, hey, can you get me a Nerds rope from the gas station? And they'll kind of forget about it, you know? They'll be like, oh my gosh. And then when they're heading over to your place, they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot the Nerds rope from the gas station. So I feel like they'll do this thing where, like, oh, they were out of Nerds ropes, I'm sorry, you know? And I feel like this kind of obsession stems from the fact that they want to please you so badly, because they know your standards are very high, or that you are somebody who, you know, won't accept anything less than, once again, 100%. And I feel like this obsession, like, once again, it's just another projection. And I think that you know what I'm talking about. I think that this energy can be pretty frustrating at times. I'm sure that, like, you've dealt with a lot of situations where people were simply projecting onto you, or they were putting a lot of their own issues on you, because, and it was just like, it's one of those things where it's like, none of my business, you know, like, this has nothing to do with me. And I feel like with the 5 of Swords and the Tower card, this once again just shows that, like, you've probably cut a lot of these people off, and you know when someone is being very dishonest with you. And so it's one of those things where, like, you know, I don't know. And I feel like, once again, I'm kind of going in circles with the reading, or I'm kind of just, like, losing it, you know, or I feel like I'm repeating myself or something. And I just feel like there are a lot of people that probably can't sit in, like, people that can't sit in silence with you. I feel like you're the kind of person that really appreciates comfortable silence. I feel like maybe you're like me in the sense that if I can be around someone and not say a single word and we're just like vibing, that is like kindred spirit to me. Like that is kindred soul to me. Like that is my vibe. And I love talking. I love feeling the silence too. But there are times where I just like to sit in complete silence. And I feel like the Nine of Swords definitely embodies that energy of you being somebody who is very composed and somebody who is very quiet. And, like it makes me think of like a calm body of water. And I think that for more rambunctious personalities, it makes them very nervous. And it kind of like fuels that obsessive fire, of wanting to fill the silence, because maybe they're nervous that you'll see them, like you'll see right through them, even though you like already have. I don't know. I feel like once again, I'm kind of like repeating myself, so I'm just gonna start wrapping up your reading and sum it up. I feel like pile one, the reason people are obsessed with you is because you're just somebody who is very stoic. I don't know how to say it. STOIC. I've heard people say it differently and it drives me insane. I have no perception of that word anymore. I feel like that word's like gaslighter word. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like people see you that way, and whether or not you actually embody that energy, it's just a sense that there's something about you that shows that there's a very rich emotional world within you, and that there is something within you that is very powerful, very healing, It makes me think of like the golden goose, Like people, it's easy to tell that you are a golden goose. Oh, we're using the golden thread tarot golden goose again. Get it? Anyways, I feel like a lot of people are very obsessed with you because they know you have something to offer, and they are trying to get to it, And I think that it's like, it makes me think of those cliche movies, like Jack and the Beanstalk, where it's a very like treacherous and very dangerous way to get to the golden goose. But once you do, it's very rewarding. And I think there's a lot of people that have tried it with you, but ultimately failed. Unfortunately for them, but fortunately for you. And I think that that's the energy that you embody, as somebody who comes off as very detached or somebody who is very protective of themselves. And there's a lot of people that like project onto you, I am feeling, and they get very obsessed with you. And I wouldn't be surprised if you've had a lot of crazy love interests or people that like get up, like they will not stop, like they give you their number, they text you a book even though you said nothing. You block them, they hit you up on Instagram instead, you block them again, they use their friend's phone instead, like that kind of obsession. And whether or not people have actually done that with you, that's just the kind of energy that these people seem to embody, in the sense that they want to at all costs keep some connection with you, whether it be through like the smoke signals or like telepathy, any way that they can stay in contact with you in whatever way, But it's just like, there's something about you that's very magnetic and very transformative and very potent, and they really want to just like get to know you more. And it's just like very insatiable because they feel as if though no matter how much they know about you, they still want to know more, And I feel like I'm like, there's something about this reading that also makes me feel like this is all at a subconscious level. I feel like you may not feel it, and I don't think that these people really feel it either. I don't think that if you ask these people, why are you obsessed with them? First of all, they would deny outright that they're obsessed with you. Second of all, they wouldn't really be able to put it into words or explain why they are so drawn to you. It's just, I feel like a lot of this is a more subconscious thing for you guys, and I feel like it's because you are in fact so emotionally magnetic and powerful, You're probably a very powerful manifester, with that being said. And also with the World card, I just feel like there's something about you that's very fulfilling to be around. I think that the people that do know you are very glad and very thankful to have you on their side. They feel like you're a very formidable person, very powerful and very validating. It's just like, it's very pleasing to them, They're like, oh my gosh, Pile One's my bestie, like we love this. But yeah. That's all I have for you, Pile One. I feel like I could keep going on this, but I just feel like I've already described kind of like the lowdown of it, and I think that it really explained it when I said that it's more at a subconscious level, and it's something that is a little bit more intangible. But yeah, that's all I have for you, Pile One. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the reading resonated, and if it did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like a personal reading, I do offer those in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below in the description box. Other than that, thank you so much for watching again. I love you. Bye. Hello, pile 2. If you chose the Rainbow Heart Tarot, this is going to be a reading for why are people obsessed with you? Now, a little bit of story about why I was obsessed with this deck. I decided I'm just going to tell you guys, like, why I was obsessed with these decks, but I remember I first saw this deck in Aso Tarot's video, and I was like, oh my god. And this is when I was first, like, collecting tarot decks, so this was, like, kind of the first deck that, like, really had a chokehold on me. And I remember, because it was my first indie deck that I was, like, obsessed with, I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's so much more expensive than the other decks I've gotten. And I remember I was, like, thinking about, like, ways I can get the money to get it, because at the time, you know, I was still in high school, and I didn't have a job or nothing, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, save up, you know, I'm gonna get it. And then when I finally got it in the mail, that day was spiritual, I swear. That was, like, it started something, I swear. But yeah, the way I pined after this deck was insane. I think I pined after this deck for a solid, like, 3 months, because when I first wanted it, the first edition had just sold out, so I was like, please didn't give it to me. Anyways, why are people obsessed with pile 2? Why are people obsessed with pile 2? Why are people obsessed with pile 2? Okay, we have Temperance. And 5 of Wands. And then on the bottom of the deck, we have the Star. I definitely feel like there's something about you that's very conflicting and very eclectic. I don't know what it is about this 5 of Wands, but it gives me this vibe that, like, people don't really know why they're obsessed with you either. I was kind of telling this to pile 1. Excuse me, oh my gosh. But basically, I was telling them that for them, the obsession was more at a subconscious level. And I feel like for you, it seems as if though, like, it's kind of the same thing, but it kind of peaks up to the surface. I don't know how to explain it, because of the Temperance card, I almost wonder if the obsession people have for you kind of peaks through at, like, how do I say? It just, oh my gosh, it, like, interrupts their routine, you know? It makes them go blink, because I feel like with the 5 of Wands, there's something about you that just shows, like, they're just obsessed with the way that you're fighting for something and that you're working for something. Your work ethic is definitely one reason that people are very obsessed with you, because I feel like you're the kind of person that isn't afraid to put in a little bit of extra work for a little bit more reward, and people really admire that about you. It makes me think of, like, you're the person that's, like, always in a group project doing all the work, you know? And I just feel like people, like, they want you on their side. People know that you're powerful, and people know that, like, you're a very capable person. Especially with the 5 of Wands. Like, I just feel like you embody, like, this warrior energy, you know? Of somebody who's really gone through a lot of things. And also with the Temperance card, I don't know, like, something about this just tells me that it's kind of like it wavers in between subconscious and conscious. Like, it's really, like, right on the fence. And I feel like it kind of dips, it kind of fluctuates from side to side depending on who it is that we're talking about here. And, you know, just, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I really do think that it just depends on who we're talking about here. And since we're talking about the masses, I just feel like it's better to keep it kind of ambiguous or, like, kind of, like, vague like that. But, you know, I feel like with the 5 of Wands, it seems as if though, like, I don't know, like, me personally, as I'm coming at this reading and just the way I feel called to approach these cards so far, I feel very, like, confused. I feel very, like, I'm drawing up a lot of blanks here, you know? It seems as if though, like, there's not much I know, like, there's not much I can say here, you know? I just feel like you're the kind of person where a lot of the explanation comes through actions and through, like, you know, just, like, gestures as opposed to words or thoughts, you know? So with that being said, I feel like there's a lot of people that may express their obsession towards you with trying to offer you help, doing little gestures for you, or, you know, like, trying to do little things for you. But I also feel like that kind of goes another way in the sense that maybe you do gestures for other people. I just feel like with that being said, I feel like with the Temperance card, we may have Sagittarius energy here, so I will talk about that in a second. But I just feel like with the Temperance card here, it seems as if though people are obsessed with the way that you're very detail oriented and that you're very, you know, the way you're able to pay attention is something else. And with Sagittarius energy here, I get major Sagittarius rising energy here. You don't have to have that placement, but you could also have just like Sagittarius or like Virgo. Just, the reason I'm mentioning Sagittarius rising is because of that Virgo midheaven, but it doesn't really matter if you have those placements. I just feel like all mutable placements are very relevant here. So Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. I feel like the mutable signs are very detail oriented and they're very good at picking up on things that the other zodiac signs simply cannot. Especially Virgo. Oh my gosh. The way a Virgo notices you is like something else, y'all. But I feel like that's the kind of where the obsession stems from, you know. People are obsessed with the way, like, you're just able to pay attention, you know. Nothing flies by you, you know. Nothing escapes your sight. Like, you're like a hawk, you know. Nothing, you don't let anything slide. You don't let anything just kind of like go by, you know. And I just feel like people get like, that's one big reason people are obsessed with you, you know. Like, you're just so like independent, you're just so like big on liberty, and at the same time you're just able to read anything like an open book, you know. And it's just so like, it's so fascinating. I don't know how to explain it. And also with Sagittarius energy being here, once again, it doesn't matter if you have these placements or not. It's just the energy that I'm picking up on. And it's also for the people that need the extra confirmation. I feel like with the Sagittarius energy, maybe you're somebody who is very adventurous or somebody who is very enthusiastic. I think that you have a lot of charisma, and I feel like because of that, people are very obsessed with the way that you assert yourself, the way you go about your life, the way you get excited about things. I also feel like you're a huge hype man. I feel like if someone was like, oh my gosh, like, look at the new jewelry that I bought. I'm saying that because I recently bought new jewelry. Don't tell anybody. And, you know, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I freaking love it. You know, it looks so good on you. Like, I love the way it complements your complexion. Like, that is so your color. That is so your style, you know? People are so obsessed with the way that you're just like a huge hype man, you know? And the way you're able to see things in such an abstract manner and bring creativity and beauty to everything, you know? The way you see things is so different from the way other people see things, and that's definitely one reason why people are also obsessed with you, simply because they really want to know your perspective on things, and they want to know why you see the things that, like, they really want you to describe it in detail what you see, just because the way you see things seems so much more beautiful and so much more, you know, like, aesthetic, you know? I don't know how to explain it. So with that being said, you may have a Sagittarius Venus, or you may just have like a mutable Venus, and or you may also have Venusian placements within your chart. So you could have Taurus or Libra placements in your big three, especially in the sun sign and the moon sign. Or you could have fifth house influence in your chart, because I just feel like it's that energy of somebody who is a creative at heart, and you're probably also very romantic or like a total flirt. With that being said, you may have had a lot of admirers or a lot of people that have gotten obsessed with you at a romantic level. What else do we have here? We also have Nine of Cups. Girl, what a card to pull in a reading like this. And Ten of Wands. Yeah, I feel like the Ten of Wands definitely once again references the fact that you're probably a very hard worker or somebody who is very diligent. There's a lot of people that feel like there's a lot of lazy people that are obsessed with you. I'm not gonna lie, simply because you pick up the slack all the time, you know, or you're able to kind of just like, you know, pick up where things are lacking. And also, I feel like with all this being said, with the Ten of Wands and the Five of Wands, there's something about you that also suggests that you really aim for perfection, or you're somebody who really likes things to be just right, you know? I feel like that's so like Sagittarius or so like Virgo, you know? And I know I keep bringing those placements up, and I just want to keep saying like the energy, like that combination is the energy that you seem to embody, you know? But you could also have like interesting aspects of your Jupiter and your Sun. So like, you know, like Jupiter like square Sun, or like Jupiter conjunct, it doesn't matter. I just feel like that kind of energy just shows that like you're somebody who's able to really cultivate your own luck and bring some really amazing things into your life through your hard work and through you expressing yourself and being open and honest about your emotions, your feelings, and thoughts, you know? I feel like by revealing your critical eye to the world and expressing your vision, that's when your visions actually manifest, you know? And obviously, because like I said, you probably have an eye of perfection, You're able to manifest things in the most perfect, most beautiful way possible. And some people have realized that, and they're obsessed with the way that, like, maybe in an unhealthy way, just the way you're able to bring abundance into their life and your life. And maybe for some people, like, you're literally like a good luck charm. I almost wonder if when you come into people's life, you like jinx their life a lot in like a good way, or you just seemingly bring good luck to their life, you know? I definitely just see like that kind of like Jupiterian, is that the word? Jupiter energy of you just being able to bring good luck to wherever you go as long as you believe in it, you know? And also, with that being said, I view Sagittarius as like a kind of like a not a religious sign, but like a sign of higher belief and believing in things. So, with that being said, I just feel like there's something about you that's just very wisdom oriented, and something about you that really suggests that you know a little something more than what other people know. And with that being said, I just feel like people get very like they're very drawn to the information that you hold, and they're very attracted to what you may know and what you possess in terms of knowledge and wisdom and experience. And with the Nine of Cups, just blatantly, you're some people's dreams come true. There are people in your life that probably are no longer a part of your life anymore, or people that constantly, like people that are in your life that constantly realize that you are a dream come true. It's literally the sense of like, what would I do without pile two? What would I do without pile two in my life, you know? And sorry, getting a sip of my drink. With the Ten of Wands here, I just feel like there's something about you that also suggests that, like, you're a very independent person, or you're somebody who really likes to do things by themselves, and maybe sometimes you break your own back because you feel very burdened. And that almost makes me wonder if there are people out there that get obsessed with you because they get off on helping you, you know? I feel like there's people, maybe there's like people pleasers, or like people that like really embody that masculine energy that get very chivalrous around you, or very obsessive with helping you or lending you a hand, you know? Maybe there are times in public where you try to open a door and some person races to the door, full on racing, like track star vibes, like literally like they turned into a human Mustang, and they're just like, they open the door for you, know, they're like, and then they're like all trying to like keep their breath composed. They're like, come in, you know? Or people that like race, like you'd be like the person in those movies where you drop a handkerchief to test someone and they pick it up way before it picks up the floor. Like it literally just fell from your hand and they're just like across the country and they still make it in time to pick it up for you, you know? That kind of vibe. I feel like there are people that are obsessed with helping you. Maybe at times they're like, do you need help with this? Or like, no, like I'll pay, you know? I feel like maybe you've gone on dates with people that are very egotistical or very like full of themselves, just because I feel like they like to inflate their ego in front of you because they want to seem more appealing to you, or they want you to like choose them, you know? Or they want to feel like, you know, like you're paying attention to them, you know? It makes me think of this, oh my god, it makes me think of this stupid Ali Wong moment where she was pretending to be a guy and she was like, look at me, you know? If you know the joke, you know the joke. It's actually really inappropriate, so the special is called Don Wong. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. It's so funny. I love it, you guys. I love Ali Wong. But, you know, just that sense of like there's a lot of people that maybe do things that are out of pocket to get your attention. They're obsessed with your attention because they know you're a discerning person. Maybe you're even like your own worst critic, you know? But it's all the same, you know? You're somebody who is very critical and very analytical and very intelligent. You're probably very book or like common sense smart, or both, you know? You're somebody who is very well knowledgeable, and I feel like with that being said, there's a lot of people that do dumb things to kind of appeal to you, you know? And it's just like they're just obsessed with like pleasing you, you know? Especially people that grew up with like strict parents, or people that like, you know, were put into that people pleasing position, you know? And so obviously I'm mentioning that because I feel like obsession can be unhealthy at times, obviously, you know. But we're just not going to talk about that. But, you know, I just feel like there are a lot of people that are very addicted to appealing to you, or seeming like, oh, like, you know, like I'm better than all these other people, you know, or like, oh, like I want to be like your friend, or oh, I want to be your man or woman, you know. Just the sense that like people really like appealing to you, and people feel a sense of competition with others around you, you know? I feel like maybe at times there's people like people come talk to you and stuff like that, or like you're with a friend, and they're just like, oh my gosh, like I could be their friend instead, or oh, I could be next to them right now, or oh, I could be holding their hand right now. Like there's just this sense of jealousy for the people that are directly around you, or the people that have the privilege of being in your energy, or outright there are people that are jealous of you, and I think that also stems from a sense of obsession, because I just feel like these people feel this sense of like they're trying to compete with you, or they're trying to compete with other people around you, because I just feel like they feel very vulnerable under your gaze, or like they feel very scrutinized by you simply because they know, like at least at a subconscious level, that you are in fact looking at everything and analyzing everything and breaking everything down, so it's the sense of like, oh my gosh, like it makes me like people feel very self-conscious around you. And I feel like once they find out, like when they feel your validation, that's where the problem starts, because they're like it's like addicting, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's like that first hit, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what that first hit is like, but you know what I mean? Like when you first get that high off a substance that you're trying for the first time, it's like that's literally how it is for some people. I'm not gonna lie to you, Pile 2. Some people really are like that. They will never admit it to you because they have a sense of ego, remember, but deep down, like they don't even realize how much they love your validation and how much they love your attention. Sometimes I feel like these people want to just like trap you in a mason jar. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. Like they just want to like you know what I mean? It really does get that bad for some people, I feel. And before you say anything, I was telling this to Pile 1. I think I'm going to tell this story to every single Pile just to prove a point. But there was this person in my health class in freshman year of high school. And literally every single day, I was so obsessed with this person. I would watch him play Plants vs. Zombies on his phone and like the dumb 2048 game on his Chromebook. If you know, you know. And I was so obsessed with him. Like, I would talk about him to all my friends and everything. Never spoke a word to him. He doesn't even know I existed, even though I sat right next to him in health class. Like, literally, that was something else, And that is the ultimate proof that there is somebody that has been obsessed with you unhealthily, and they never spoke a word to you. Just don't even argue with me on that. Because how do you know? Anyways, let me know. Okay, we also have 7 of Wands. And we also have the Hanged Man. So something about these butterflies, I almost wonder, like, because with this Phoenix figure here, I feel like there's also this sense of obsession because people realize that it makes me think of this TikTok where this girl's like, you know what's messed up? People see that you heal yourself and that you're able to overcome things, and they try to like trigger you or like, make you feel like you're not healing, So in that sense, I think you know what I mean when I say that. I feel like maybe you attract a lot of people that undergo crisis or like going through a lot, like I feel like you just attract a lot of people right before or during a very turbulent period of their life. And I almost wonder if you guys are major healers, or maybe you guys have felt like you are healers, or you're just like a very healing person. And once again, that is definitely another reason why people are obsessed with you, because it just feels so good to be around you. It feels so nice to just like be like, it makes me think of like the wind blowing on your face while you're next to a body of water and the sun setting. It's just something about that vibe really embodies how people feel about you. And it's this sense of like nostalgia and the sense of like a reliable love that nobody can like count on you. Like nobody thought that they could be able to find, I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately, but I really do feel like your love is the kind of love that people can depend on. Like the way we can all collectively count on the sun to rise and set every day, And I just feel like a lot of people get obsessed with you because of that, because you have a lot of healing energy to you. There's something about you that's just so like rejuvenating and so beautiful, with the 7 of Wands and that imagery, just like a phoenix rising from the ashes, I feel like through crisis and through seeing people in pain or something about suffering and something about, like hardship just like makes you stronger. And I feel like people really admire you for that. And I just feel like as a result, maybe you're able to put things into words that nobody else would be able to, or that you're able to relate to people in a way that they would have never in a million years thought that they would be able to be related to, And I just feel like with that being said, with the 9 of cups and the 10 of wands, like that's another reason why people are just so obsessed with you, because you bring a sense of relief to them that they would not have otherwise have felt, you know? It's the kind of like forbidden relief almost, especially with the hanged man, you know? Like I feel like sometimes people like they don't know how to feel about you, or they get very scared of their own draw towards you just because like you are that magnetic and powerful, you know? It makes me think of like a body of water, you know, just like very confusing and very scary, but at the same time very healing and very beautiful in its own way, you know. There's just something about you that's so fiercely unique and so magnificent, you know. You leave people in awe, pile too, I'm not gonna lie. I just feel like there's something about you that's just, you float by, you know. It makes me think of the song called Telepatia by Kali Uchis. It makes me think of the music video, because in the music video she's walking through a street in her hometown, and there's like people, there's like this one guy in the video who like looks at her and, you know, like full on 360 turning their head like an owl to look at her, you know. And I feel like that's the kind of vibe, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if you're the pile that like always, if you watch my other videos, or if you watch like, you know, like if you just watch my other videos, like I feel like more often than not, I probably tell you this, that people stare at you or people look at you, but it's just because there's something about you that they know that there's so much more to you than what they would seem, you know? And I just feel like there's something so bizarre and so like otherworldly about you, you know? Something about just like, I don't know, like I just feel like people are so attracted to you and people are so drawn to you, you know? But at the same time, I feel like they're very intimidated by you and the kind of pull you have on them, you know? I feel like it's one of those situations where they're afraid of how attracted to you they are, or they're afraid of this draw towards you, you know? And I feel like it's one of those things where it's not that they know that they're drawn to you, it's just like they don't understand why or how they're drawn to you, or if they're drawn to you, and it causes a lot of confusion and a lot of self-gaslighting, I'm not gonna lie, you know? It's the sense of like, they don't even know, like it's a subconscious thing. They don't know why they want to talk to you. They don't know why they keep looking at you, you know? It's just like a hypnotized kind of vibe, you know? And I feel like the way I'm saying it sounds kind of like dramatic, or I'm like kind of like, you know, like over exaggerating, but I really do feel like there are people in your life that have completely passed you by and you've only seen them for a collective 3 seconds, but those 3 seconds felt like 3 years to them, simply because like they really don't know they really wanted to know more about you, and they really wanted to know more about your vibe, you know, and more so what you were about. And there's just something so magnetic about you because of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you have like really vivid dreams, or if you have like really weird dreams with people in it that you have never seen in your life before. Because I remember this one day I was telling my friend, I was like, oh my gosh, like I had a bunch of dreams about these people that I've never seen in my life before. And she was all like, that could be like, I've heard that like when you pass people by in the street, or like people that you just see for like literally a blink of an eye in public or something, like it could be those people, because like, you know, like we just see them for 3 seconds and they just pop up in our dreams, you know? So I feel like for a lot of you guys, you may resonate with that, or just like that theory or that concept of just like random people thinking about you in a way that's like, if you found out, you'd be so surprised, you know? Okay, last but not least, we have the moon, and we have 4 of Pentacles. Yeah, I've been getting so many Pisces energy, so much Pisces vibes ever since I pulled the Hanged Man. I feel like you have a Pisces moon, or maybe you have a 12th house moon possibly. And I don't know, just something about Pisces here. And I just feel like 4 of Pentacles definitely talks about like this denial that I was talking about earlier, in the sense that like there's people that are afraid of their own, you know, attraction to you, or kind of like this draw towards you, you know. With the moon card, I definitely feel like once again it seems as if though like you bring up a lot of things in other people's lives, or maybe you're just like a walking mirror, metaphorically of course, and people just see there's something in you that they see in themselves, or there's something that they see in you that kind of like freaks them out, and it makes them get nervous, you know. It makes them like clam up a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are people that have been rude to you, or people that have like spoken some way to you, because like they get very defensive with you, because like they don't know who you are, and they like there's just something about you that's very like, they don't understand why they feel the way they feel about you. And I almost wonder if there's a lot of people that have been rude to you and they instantly regret it after you're gone, simply because they're like, wow, why was I so rude to them, like, because it really was just kind of like a spur of the moment kind of thing. And it's just like, this all kind of, I feel like all these little things kind of like fuel into the whole obsession thing. I feel like a lot of the reason why people get obsessed with you is just like, they're very curious and they're very like, how do I say, like, ignorant as to why they reacted the way they did with you. I feel like the way that people, like, the way you're able to kind of like induce these knee-jerk reactions in people really surprises them and makes them feel some sort of way, because they don't really know what to make of it. They don't understand why they reacted the way they did, and they get very curious about it. They just like, they've never lost their temper before, they've never been drawn to someone like that before. And I feel like the obsession really translates into more of this curiosity about why they behaved the way they did around you and why you were there. Just like, it's just all of like these unproductive questions, because there's just not enough information, or there's not enough context for them to kind of deduce who you are, how you make them feel, how they feel about you. It kind of all gets left up in the air and it kind of like circles around in their head. I feel like with the 10 of Wands, some people, like, they may not even overcome this obsession, especially if they get to know you at a deeper, more intimate level. I just feel like the more they get to know about you, the more drawn to you they are, because they love how you make them feel. They love how you express yourself. They love the way how you assert yourself. It's just something so beautiful about it, and something so just like alluring, something so magnetic. I feel like those words really don't do justice to your energy. There's just something so like magical about you. Like, I'm thinking like rainbows and like sparkles and like glitter. I don't know, it's just so like beautiful. I don't know, I feel like that was very like corny, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna sum up your reading pile too by saying the reason people are obsessed with you is just because there's something about you that at first they can't really figure you out, especially since like in the beginning of the reading you can kind of tell like I was like kind of lost. I didn't really know where to begin, and I feel like that speaks volumes as to how people may feel about you. They really don't know what to deduce about you, or they don't really know how to sum you up. They don't know who you are. They don't know why they feel the way they feel about you. And maybe for some people, I'm feeling like you confuse them at a sexual level. That's just like a loose thought, and definitely something I wanted to bring out, or like something that I wanted to bring up. And you just like, you have like this beautiful energy about you that's very healing, that's very potent and very inspiring. It's just like so pure and so loving and very unconditional. And it's just something that's just so magical about you. Something so whimsical and something so glorious. And I feel like a lot of people don't know what to make of it. And I feel like you may have experienced this in relationships before, where people fall in love with how you make them feel, not you. And I feel like sometimes the obsession can like stem from figuring that out, like whether or not they love you or the feeling. Sometimes both. And I feel like when it's both, it is like full blown, like they cannot, let's not even go there. Let's just not, like, you know what I'm talking about, and you're just like, you don't even know. And I feel like a lot of people, like, they get very defensive and they don't really know what it is about you that makes them feel the way they do. And I know I keep bringing that up, but I just feel like that's the best way to describe it. Do you see what I mean? Like my speech pattern, like going back and forth, like this mindless ramble of like going in circles, like broken record vibes. It's just like, people don't know enough about you, and even when they do know enough about you, it's just like what they do know about you, they cling onto, and they just love it. They love getting to know you, they love knowing more about you, and it simply isn't enough for them. But like, this especially applies to people that don't know enough about you. It's very mindless, and they turn the information, what little information that they have about you, around in their head over and over and over again, simply because like they're just so starved for more of you, and not like you're starving them, but it's just like they just want to know more so badly, and they want to experience that high of being around you again, of feeling that feeling again. And for some, it's very difficult, for people that you have cut off, or people that have had the privilege of being within your circle and are no longer part of your circle. It's very hard for them without you. This, like, that you are very self-sacrificing, or at the very least a very giving and a very abundant person. And when these people no longer have access to you, they just like, They really do lose it, and there's a sort of like burden and there's sort of like difficulty and anxiety and fear that comes with it, simply because they don't know how they're gonna do it without you. So yeah, that's all I have for you, Pile 2. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the reading resonated, and if it did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like a personal reading, I do offer those in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below in the description box. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Again, I love you. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. If you chose the Pastel Journey Tarot, this is going to be your reading for why are people obsessed with you? Okay, so I've been telling every single pile why I was obsessed with the deck that they chose. Let me tell you something, Pile 3. This deck was something else, because I remember when Vanessa Samina first was using this deck in a video, she hadn't announced it yet. So I remember I saw it in a video and I was like, hey, I commented it. I was like, hey, what was that cartoony, pretty looking deck called? And she was like, I'll tell you later, with like a winky face or something like that. And I was like, ain't no way she's releasing it. And I pre-ordered the deck. No, I got it like within the first few hours of the deck dropping, and I got a signed box copy. I got the signed copy. I was so happy. And the way that this deck had a chokehold on me, oh my gosh, you guys. Literally, there was like a whole month or like more that I only used this deck. Like, this is the only deck like for me. Like, it was only this one. This was the it deck. I cannot explain to you how obsessed I was. It was so unhealthy. It was my baby. I don't know. Oh, I'm like sweating. There's like so many other decks that I have crazy stories for, so I'm probably gonna redo this reading one day with like different decks, you know? I don't know. Why are people obsessed with Pile 3? I hope you enjoyed that little anecdote. I've been telling every pile so far. Why are people obsessed with Pile 3? Okay, first card we have 3 of Cups. And then we have 4 of Pentacles. Like, who wouldn't be obsessed with this? Like, this is so cute. Like, we love this. Anyways. And then 3 of Pentacles. I think it's very interesting that we have 2 3s here. I feel like there's a lot of people that have been in relationships that, like, have been obsessed with you. Like, I almost feel like there's a lot of times in your life where you could have been a third-party situation simply because someone in a relationship came on to you. They're like, hey, like, do you want to link? Or, like, do you want to, like, go get a coffee or something? Depending on who we're talking about here. And you're all like, don't you have a significant other? And they're like, not right now. And you're just like, oh, you know? Oh my gosh. Here's another interesting little story. I hope you don't mind. I remember this one time I went through the drive-thru with my brother. He's so scum for this. I will never forgive him for this. But he asked for the drive-thru girl's phone number at Burger King. And I looked at him and I was like, don't you have a girlfriend? And he said, shh. No. Don't get me started. Anyways. So with the 3 of Cups here and the 3 of Pentacles, I also feel like there's something about you that just suggests that you're a very sociable person. You're just so fun to be around, and you're a very intelligent person. There's something about you that suggests to me that you're a very, like, airy, very fun person to be around, despite the fact that we don't have any swords yet. Maybe we won't have any at all. We'll keep an eye out for it. But I just feel like you may have like a lot of air in your chart. So you may have Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius in your chart, especially within the Mercury. Or you just may have like a very like intense Mercury placement, or there's just like a lot of aspects of your Mercury. Just something about that mercurial energy is very relevant here. You're just a very intelligent person, I feel. And also the 4 of Pentacles, I feel like you're very good with your money, or there's just something about finances being significant here. And I also feel like with the 4 of Pentacles and 3 of Pentacles, I don't know what it is about this energy, but it makes me feel like you're a quality over quantity person to an extreme. Like, I just feel like you would rather buy something for $500 that would last you 5 years as opposed to spend $100 every single year, you know? Like, you're just a person that thinks longevity-wise, and I feel like that really does, like, translate to how people perceive you, and that really does translate to the way people are obsessed with you, because they see that you're a person of longevity. But obviously, because of that being said, you're not the kind of person that will allow just anyone into your circle. You're not the kind of person that will just allow anyone, within like, like your social groups or something like that. Like, you're probably a very possessive, or like a person that isn't that big into sharing, just because I feel like that's the Four of Pentacles energy. And I feel like because of that, people are very obsessed with that energy. People love the idea of, I feel like possessiveness has become so glamorized nowadays, even though it's like low-key, like unhealthy. Like, please stop glamorizing it. We just can't help it. I just feel like there's a lot of people that find you very fun, very talkative, very energetic, and very charismatic. And because of that, they just really want to get to know you more, and they really want to become like a closer friend to you, It makes me think of like you probably have Taurus energy in your chart, or like something in your chart that suggests that you have Taurus, or like fixed. Because I feel like that Taurus energy is like people really want to get to know you more, and they really want to be around you more. But it's just like, if I'm saying I'm a Taurus moon, and if I don't feel you 100% and I don't want you in my life, there's no way you're getting in, Like, it is not true that if you stick around, you'll get your foot in the door. That's not how it works, okay? If I didn't want you in the first place, you're not getting in at all. Like, just leave, go home, like, leave all your belongings, like, just give it a rest, like, pack it up. It's time for you to go, okay? And I feel like that's the kind of energy that you embody, Pile 3. And it's like, obviously, maybe to not that extreme, because I'm a little bit crazy about it. Like, I don't know. But I just feel like there's something about you that's like, people really want to be your friend. Like, I call it a squish, like really wanting to be friends with someone. Like, with the Three of Cups and the Three of Pentacles, just all of this energy together, plus that that Taurasian, is that the word? Taurus theme here. There's just something about you that's very popular, something that's very trendy, and something that's very like alternative and very unique, and how do I say, like personalized, Your love is very personalized, I feel, Pile 3. People can sense this, and they get very obsessed with it because they want to feel it for themselves. They want to be around you. They want to keep experiencing it, especially for those people that have been around you already, or people that have had the privilege of getting to know you at a deeper level for even a few seconds, because they know that, like, you're someone who's very meaningful and somebody who's very genuine and very magnetic, And they just really want to be around you, even though you're probably not like that big of a people's person. Like, obviously we have the Three of Cups here, so it's a little bit contradictory, but it's like, just because you're not a people's person doesn't mean that you have no charisma, or that you're not like a popular or likable person, And I feel like that's so the energy that you embody, because I just feel like you're the kind of person that, once again, with that quality over quantity thing, you probably want like 2 really good friends as opposed to like a million acquaintances, Like, you're just somebody who's very socially selective, and selective in other ways too. You probably have very fine taste, or you're probably a very expensive person because you don't settle, And I feel like people get really obsessed with that because you know all the good things, all the good spots to hit, all. If someone is around you, like, you reveal hidden gems to them. Like, you're able to tell them about small businesses that sell the best jewelry. You're the kind of person that is, like, all the small businesses for the best tarot decks. All the best, like, restaurants. All the best, like, places in town to go do something new. All the best parks. There's just something about you that's like, you're very knowledgeable and you're very intelligent, and you know exactly what the vibe is. Like, you're just somebody who's very good at setting the mood and creating like a vibe. And it's just like, there's something about you that's very like magnetic and beautiful. And when I say magnetic, it's like people know exactly why they're drawn to you, For piles 1 and 2, I feel like I told them a lot that it was more of a subconscious thing. But for you, I feel like it is more of like a social interactions kind of like, it's very obvious as to why people are drawn to you, and they are very obvious as to why they're drawn to you too, It's like, you have a very tight-knit life, and you don't really like to let people into it, and people get very obsessed with getting in, It's like a club that you can't get into. It's just like, the club is more appealing when you're not of age, I feel like, at least that's my logic, And I feel like that's the kind of energy that I'm picking up on here, It's not that like people are like not your age, Maybe they aren't, maybe that is the case here. But, it's this sense of like, people feel like you keep your No pun intended. You keep your cards very close to your chest, and people are just like, oh my gosh, like, let me see, you know? I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like there's a million ways I could, like, create analogies to kind of explain to you eloquently in a way that shows why people want to get to know you more and why people are obsessed with you and why they admire you so much. But truthfully, it's just because they see you as like a very extravagant person, somebody who is very genuine, somebody who's very unique, different, alternative, and very just like yourself, you know, and they just love that, you know. You probably attract a lot of Aquariuses. We also have Nine of Swords and Ten of Wands. I feel like with the Nine of Swords, it really does go... Oh my gosh, you know what this makes me think of? With the Ten of Wands and Nine of Swords, I feel like there's a lot of people that try really hard to appeal to you or like kiss your arse, you know, if you know what I mean. Kiss your ass. I just feel like it's this energy of these people really suck it up to you, you know? And I think that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you'll be like, wow, you know, like, I really like chili fries, you know? Like, they're just so, like, good, you know? Like, I'm feeling chili fries right now, and, you know, and then someone's like, oh my gosh, I love chili fries too. Like, have you ever tried the chili fries from Sonic? Like, do you want to get chili fries right now? Let's go get chili fries right now. Like, I can drive you and I'll pay for you, you know? It's that kind of sense of, like, people are so quick to agree with you. People are so, like, I feel like you've attracted a lot of spineless people because they're obsessed with like wanting to relate to you. They project their own value onto you because they want to feel like, I feel like there's some people that you have experienced that are very spineless and they have no like sense of self, almost not like in a rude way, you know. It's just like they're figuring themselves out, but it's just like they want to relate to you so bad because they see you as like this very expensive and very refined individual, and they feel like being around you will give them that, you know. They feel like they'll be that if they're around you enough. And I think you know what I'm talking about. I don't think that it's one of those things where I can like perfectly describe, because I just feel like it's one of those things that when you see in person, like, you just know. But there's definitely a lot of people with the Nine of Swords. The reason I'm bringing that up is because, you know, the Nine of Swords is about anxiety, fears. It's literally the nightmare card. And I feel like that's the kind of energy that people embody because they're very afraid to displease you or not appeal to you, you know? It makes me think like they'll leave your presence. They'll be like, oh my gosh, did I say all the right things to pile through? Or like, do they think I'm weird? Do they think I'm crazy? Like, I hope they don't get mad at me. Like, you know what I mean? Just a lot of like this craziness mindset of like people really wanting to appeal to you and people wanting to feel validated by you, you know? And I feel like with the Ten of Wands, maybe they like pick up a lot of burdens, or like people are very excessive with it, you know? Or people are very like, they burden themselves outright just to like get a slice of your energy and to be around you more, you know? And it's just like, especially with the Three of Pentacles, so maybe this applies in the workplace or just something about work is involved here. So maybe you have coworkers that are very obsessed with you, or maybe you've had like people that you've just had to work with, you know, like just something about that. Maybe people in school, like if you're in school or if you're in like a community-based thing, or if you're in an environment that is around a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people that like flock towards you. And I feel like this is such a random example, but if there was two sides, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you guys are like, you and like 500 other people are playing a game, and one side is yes and one side is no. If someone was like, and the question was like, the sky is blue, and you go to the no side, not saying that you would, but you know what I mean? Like, even though you are wrong, there's so many people that gravitate towards you and just immediately trust your judgment and your decision making, and they just like automatically make you a leader. I almost wonder if you're that friend when you're in like a group of people, like you're just going somewhere and you're like, hey, like, where are we going? And then they're all like, oh, we were just following you, you know? Like, you just radiate this natural leadership energy and like this like diplomatic position of knowing what to do and knowing where to go and having everyone's best interest in mind somehow. Like, you're just so good at mediating situations. You're just so good at reading the room. And I just feel like people are very obsessed with you, and they really want to know more about you, and they really want to be on your good side most of all, because they see you as being on your good side as a very validating thing for them, and something that like brings them a lot of like validation, you know. They feel very reassured around you when they are on your good side, you know. And I just feel like it's one of those things where like people really like, they turn on the people pleasing habits when they're around you because they really are obsessed with you, you know. And that sounds so silly, you know. I've been kind of laughing to myself thinking about how many times I've said obsessed in this video alone, because, you know. Anyways, let's pull some more cards. We also have Ace of Wands. Oh boy, you already know what I'm about to talk about. Yes, you do. I feel like with the Ace of Wands, people are definitely very attracted to you. And Six of Cups. Honestly, with the Six of Cups, I feel like the people that are most obsessed with you are the people that are no longer, like, within your circle. I was saying this to kind of pile 1 and 2 as well, but I feel like for you, it's a little bit different because I feel like there's something about you that's very nostalgic and very innocent, you know? I feel like, okay, rewind. With the Ace of Wands, I do feel like there's people that are very drawn toward you. They're very attracted to you, if you know what I mean. Like, like, you know what I mean. I don't know. I'm just not going to get into it like that. You know, that's just like rated R. But, you know, there's a lot of people that find you very physically attractive. And there's just something about you that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you've been in public before and people have literally eyed you up and down. Like, people look at your face and you see their pupils move down and then move back up. And you're just sitting there like, I'm about to blow your brains out. But you know what I mean? It's like, people get very obsessed with you, especially with the fact that, like, on top of the fact that you're, like, really hot, it's just, like, you also have, like, a personality. Like, what do you mean? That's, like, you don't just come by that these days, you know? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's the kind of vibe that people are kind of giving here, is the sense that, like, you just do not see a pretty face and a personality at the same time anymore. That's, like, not a thing. At least for the vast majority, you know? Like, obviously, like, there's quite a few people watching this pile, but, like, the quite a few people watching this compared to the billions of people on this earth, you know? It's unfathomable, you know? I know that was, like, such a dramatic analogy, but, like, I felt like I had to, like, say it. I don't know. I feel like with the Six of Cups, too, the Six of Cups also makes me feel like there are people that, like, feel like you're their soulmate or something. I feel like people that are no longer in your circle feel like you're, like, a twin flame or soulmate. I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like this obsession has been very bad before. I feel like there's people in your life that have been attracted to you and they feel like they have, like, business with you or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's people that, like, force themselves onto you. Also, with the Nine of Swords and Ten of Wands, I'm feeling like people have been very possessive over you. Whether it be a friend, a lover, family member, people, like, they get very insecure. People that have known you before and they do this thing where they, like, become very controlling of you or outright become very mean to you. In the sense that, like, maybe they become very degrading towards you, or they become very manipulative, or they become very just diabolical. The reason I'm bringing this up, and you know who I'm talking about, people in your life that you're no longer part of, like, people who are no longer part of your life because of toxicity, the reason why they were like that is because they were obsessed with you and they really did only want you to themselves. They really wanted you to be, they wanted to be your only friend, your only lover, your only family member, whatever the case may be. They wanted to be the only one, and they did literally everything they could to control you and to keep you. So much so, like, in a way to, like, degrade you and make you feel unworthy of other people's presence simply because they just wanted to keep you all to themselves, you know? They were willing to do whatever it took to keep you within their circle. They were doing whatever it took to keep you in a way that was convenient to them, you know, and the way they wanted to, you know? It makes me think of, like, this is so random, but, like, keeping a pet octopus, it's just, like, I so would do that, but, like, it's very cruel because, like, octopuses are, like, they need to, like, be stimulated. Like, they're, like, really smart and they get, like, depressed when they don't have, like, toys. They get over it. Like, you're so dramatic. Anyways, you know, it's just, it's that sense of, like, wanting to keep something for yourself, even though it's to that thing's detriment, you know? And I feel like that's the energy that a lot of people that have been obsessed with you have bodied or, like, embodied, you know? And I feel like you've attracted a lot of toxic people like that, in the sense that, like, when you're with them, they're, like, super controlling and, like, diabolical and, like, evil. But then when they're, like, gone, they're like, oh my gosh, like, how could you do this to me? Like, no, I miss you. I promise I'll change. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe you've attracted a lot of narcissists, with that being said. But I also feel like with the Six of Cups, it's just, like, this sense of, like, people see this innocence about you. And with the Ace of Wands, so I'll let you guys do the math, but immense attraction plus innocence plus possessiveness equals, I think the only thing that could answer that is Twitter. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But anyways, I just feel like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just like, I feel like so playful with this pile, you know? Like, I feel like there's this sort of like playfulness about you, this flirtatiousness about you, something about you that's just like impossible to get to know you more, you know? It's just like people, like, you give people, you deliver, but there's a certain point where you stop delivering because like you're not trying to like get to know them more, and then they're like, why did you stop delivering? I thought this was going somewhere. I feel like you've been one of those people that has like flirted with people, or like people, and like one of those people that like flirts for fun, but then like you accidentally like get people like developing crushes and like catching feelings for you, and you're like, oh, I was just flirting with y'all. Like, I didn't think that y'all would, you know what I mean? And I feel like with that being said, you've had a lot of people that are very attracted to you and very like obsessed with you. I cannot explain it. It's just a sense of like, oh my gosh, like lots of unrequited love. You've probably had to break a lot of hearts. Oh my gosh. Libra energy all the way. I feel like Libra is so that. Like, I feel like Libras, they flirt with people, and then those people are like, oh my gosh, like, and then they get all delusional, and then they're like, you know, like, I just been feeling some sort of way about you. And the Libra's like, who are you again? I don't remember talking to you, you know? You know, it's just like, I feel like you've been in a lot of situations like that. Maybe to not that extreme, maybe for some of you, yes. But it's just the sense of like, you've probably broken a lot of hearts unknowingly or knowingly, because you're just like, you're so charismatic, you're so likable, you're so attractive, and so like, you have a very good appeal to the masses, you know? You're just like a very like beautiful person, and you're just somebody who is very likable, you know? So yeah, I just feel like you've broken a lot of hearts whether you realize it or not. Okay, what else do we have here? We also have Knight of Wands and King of Pentacles. I feel like the King of Pentacles definitely embodies that Taurus energy again. You could also be a Capricorn or a Virgo, especially with the Four of Pentacles that came out earlier. We have all the elements here. Oh yeah, we did pull one Swords card, but only one. So take that for what it is. But I just feel like with the Knight of Wands and King of Pentacles, it really does give me the feel that you have like maybe like a fiery ascendant. So like a, or like a Mars. So you could have like a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries rising, or Mars, or you could just have like Mars conjunct your ascendant, or just something like that, you know? Something about your ascendant and your Mars is very significant here. And I just feel like you also have like an earthy vibe to you too. So you can have like an Earth, Venus, Sun, or Moon, but like, you know, whether or not you do have those placements, I just feel like the vibe is that you're somebody who is very grounded, but somebody who also knows how to have fun. Like, you have a very good relationship of going out and staying in, you know? Like, you can, like, you're really Swiss Army knife when it comes to spending time with loved ones and spending time with people. I feel like you're very good at adapting to the situation as long as you're given time, you know? And I just feel like with that being said too, it's just, there's something also so attractive about the fact that you can be a homebody or somebody who goes out a lot, you know? And I feel like with the Knight of Wands, like, once again, that player, flirty, fun energy, you know? And I'm not saying you are a player. Maybe you used to be. Maybe you have gone down that route before, you know? Like, how was it? I don't know. But at the same time, with the Knight of Wands and King of Pentacles, there's something about you that knows that the balance of having fun and going out and partying versus staying home and getting done what you need to get done, you know? So I feel like you're like this person that is very attractive, like somebody who goes to parties and has fun and like turns up, but then at the same time, like, you're a straight A student and like gets all your work done. You're at work on time. Like, you will stay out partying until 3 a.m. and then you go to work at 5 a.m. You made it on time, you're fine, you get your job done efficiently, you know? And obviously that's like a very dramatic analogy, but I feel like for some of you it could apply. Some of you may not even be in school, but it's just that vibe, you know, of somebody who is really responsible and very good at knowing their own boundaries and limits, but at the same time knowing exactly how to have fun. So much so to a point where it doesn't even seem like you're a responsible person, you know, somebody who knows their limits, you know. It doesn't seem that way just because you're so good at like drawing that fine line, you know, and reaching it and, you know, like not crossing it, you know. And I don't know, like, just something about this reading really tells me that, like, you're just such a fun, sociable person and somebody who, like, it really isn't a party until you walk in, you know? And I feel like a lot of people know that. And I feel like because you are probably a very intelligent person with the pentacles here, it just really shows me that, like, your charisma is through the roof because the way you flirt, the way you talk is very intelligent, you know? Your jokes aren't corny, like, you're very original and you're very good with your speech, you're very good with your words. And I feel like some people have gotten tongue-tied with you because maybe you like turn it around on them. Maybe people have tried flirting with you and then you kind of like turn it around on them, or you're able to kind of twist up their words, you know? Like, you're very hard to get, you know? You're somebody who has like a lot of speech and like somebody who is very good with their words, and people get obsessed with it. You can talk someone in circles and they just like, they get buttered up, okay, girl? They're just like, oh my gosh, you know? Like, you can talk someone into circles and like the whole time they're just like mesmerized, you know? I think I'm gonna sum up your reading, pile 3, before I like go on and on and on about the same thing. It really does give me this vibe that the reason people are obsessed with you is because you're just such a likable person. Like, you're just so sociable and you seem like you have a lot of friends. Whether or not you do, it's just like, even if you have like only a few friends, and like obviously like in the part of the reading, in the first part, I was like, you're probably like a quality over quantity person. This is true, and I do stand by that. But I also feel like that doesn't mean that you don't have like a lot of acquaintances or a lot of people that are very fond of you or really like you, simply because you just really are that diplomatic and likable, you know, to where you're able to kind of like lightly keep in touch with people that you don't really talk to anymore. I feel like there's a lot of people, like, you have a lot of friends, but there's also like a very tight-knitted group of friends that like you consider like your soulmates, your twin flames, you know, your kindred spirits, you know, that kind of vibe. And I just feel like, with that being said, there's a lot of people that aren't in that circle that really want to get to know you more and really want to become closer to you, and like they get very obsessed with what they know about you. They feel like you have so much to offer in a relationship. They feel like you're a very innocent soul, and like I said, for some of you, I feel like there's people that are very obsessed with you in another way, in the sense that you're very attractive. But yeah. And I also feel like with the 3 of Cups, like, you're just such an easy person to get along with, and you're just so like likable, you know, like that's really the best way to put it. Like, you're just so charismatic and you have a lot of game. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you're just so flirtatious. You're so fun to be around. You're so likable, and you know, it's just, you're so airy. You're so fun. You're so just, you know, like, unpredictably, and you're just so unpredictable, and you're just so like fun about it, you know? Like, I don't know, like, even the way I'm talking, you know, it's just like, I feel like I'm pointing out things in here and there. I feel like I'm all over the place, and it's just like you embody like this beautiful chaotic energy of somebody who is very hard to lock down, somebody who's very hard to get to commit or something like that. And because of that, I feel like there's a lot of people that have chased you or tried to get you to commit and try to get you to, you know, like, open up to them, you know, but they simply cannot, you know, simply because they came at you wrong, or you just didn't feel like it, or you just have a fear of commitment, something of that nature, you know. And I feel like there's a lot of people that get insecure around you, or people that burden themselves directly because they want to appeal to you more. They want to feel like they are worthy in your eyes, you know. There's a lot of people that hunger for your validation outright, pile 3, like, straight up. There are people around you, or people that like get obsessed with you, and they get obsessed with your validation and your attention, so much so that like they'll put themselves in like a controversial position, or like a very weird predicament, just to get like validation from you, or just to get your attention, you know. There are people that have and will do crazy things for your attention, and you may not realize it, pile 3. So yeah. That's all I have for you, pile 3. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the reading resonated, and if it did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like a personal reading, I do offer those in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below in the description box below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Again, I love you. Bye. Hello, pile 4. If you chose the Pink Pain Tarot, this is going to be your reading for why are people obsessed with you? Now, I've been telling every single pile why I was obsessed with the deck that they chose, so let me just tell you about the Pink Pain. When I first saw this deck, it was in Vanessa Samina's channel. I wish I got the first copy. This is the second edition, and I also got the one that isn't edged in the pink, I don't know. But I remember I was so willing to spend like hundreds of dollars on this deck. I swear I manifested it being reprinted. Oh my gosh. I needed it. I couldn't live without it. And I remember I pre-ordered it way before I moved to California, and I like set the address to the address I was moving to in California. And I remember I got it like months later when I got here, and I was like, oh, finally. I was so happy. Oh my god, you guys. Anyways, why are people obsessed with pile 4? Why are people obsessed with pile 4? Okay, so far we have the 4 of Knives. And we have the Magician. So, with the 4 of Knives, I feel like... Oh, also, we also have Ace of Bottles on the bottom of the deck. Okay, with the 4 of Knives and Ace of Bottles, there's something about you that is very quiet and very healing. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like you're one of those people where anyone can really sit with you in comfortable silence. And I feel like with the Magician card, I don't know what it is, but this... I just feel like you're always changing, or there's always new feelings when it comes to talking to you. And I know I'm it kind of doesn't make sense, but like it just makes me think of a person that every single time you see them, they change a little bit. You know, you change your appearance, you change how you talk, you change, you know what I mean? Anyways, there's just something about you that suggests that you are a very ever-changing person and somebody who is very mutable, somebody who is very quick. And with mutable being said, you could be a Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, or Pisces, but there's a specific emphasis on Gemini and Pisces, especially Gemini. Oh my gosh, this gives me a lot of Gemini energy. Also, with the Ace of Bottles on the bottom of the deck, I feel like you're able to make people feel things despite the fact that they may be like emotionally unavailable. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like the way you talk and the way you kind of go about things just like evokes a specific emotion out of people. And I know I'm like kind of keeping things vague here. I feel like I'm kind of like beating around the bush, but honestly that's really how people feel around you, you know? There's just something about you that suggests that you aren't afraid to get to the truth. Perhaps you have like a very intense Mercury placement. So you could have a Mercury in the 8th or 12th house, or you could have like a Scorpio or like just like a watery Mercury, or even no, I think water Mercury would be the most relevant here. Or you could just have like Mercury aspects between Mercury and Pluto. Something about Pluto, Mercury, the mutable signs, and Scorpio is very relevant here, and just suggests somebody who isn't afraid to say what the emotions are, you know, somebody who isn't afraid to get to the bottom of the feeling right away, you know. There's something that's very deep about it. There's something that's very potent and very, you know, like meaningful about you, you know. Something that shows that you are in fact a very genuine person, you know. And I'm not saying like, oh, like the other piles are fake or something like that, you know, like it's not like that. It's more so there's something about you that suggests that you are living a very, like, you are so painfully living the truth to a point where it's like, almost seems like to a detriment, you know? Not to your, maybe it could be to yourself, but I just feel like there's something about you that suggests that you are a very honest person and somebody who is very blunt, but at the same time, very curious and very innocent, you know? Because the Magician card, I feel like, you know, obviously the Magician is about having all the elements and being a powerful manifester. And the 4 of Knives, you know, correlates to the 4 of Swords, which is, you know, about rest and recuperation. This deck reads differently than other tarot decks because it comes with its own guidebook and the keywords are way different than like traditional Rider-Waite. But I decided to start reading it by, you know, just traditional Rider-Waite just because it makes it a little bit easier. But I feel like that could also be relevant here. I almost wonder if the way you interpret things or if the way people interpret you have been a little bit different, or there has been like a sort of disconnect there. So I almost wonder if there's this sense of like people have trouble understanding you, and that's kind of where the obsession stems from, you know? And I feel like a lot of that comes from this emotion that I was talking about earlier, because I feel like they get a specific feeling about you, and the way they want to go about this feeling is very confusing because I feel like they want to explore it more, you know? And once again, here I come again with like this confusing energy of not really knowing how to kind of put things into words, you know? It just really does seem as if though that you are in fact a person that can put things into words that other people simply would not be able to, you know? It's just like, I feel like that's really how you choose your friends too. I feel like you're a very tight-knitted person in the sense that like you don't want to hang around people that don't understand the vibes, you know? And I just feel like you're the kind of person that, once again, with this Four of Knives here, it's just, you can say everything you need to say, but in complete silence, you know? And I feel like you look for people that understand that language and understand how you come off, you know? I don't think that you're the kind of person that likes overly explaining yourself, but I feel like there's a lot of people that are very obsessed with getting to know what this language is or getting to know how to speak to you, you know? And maybe for some of you, you are in fact a person that can speak different languages, you know? Like, just like literally, maybe you're bilingual, trilingual, quadlingual, is that the word? But you know, I just feel like you're a very well-educated person and somebody who is a very expansive person by nature. All things aside here, I also just feel like you're somebody who, through deep thought and pondering, you're able to come up with the most interesting solutions and conclusions to different things, you know. There's something about you that suggests that, like, you just love... I feel like... Okay, it makes me think that you're like a very influential person or you're a very powerful person, especially with the astrology placements that I just mentioned. I feel like all of these suggest that when people find out that you're into the same things as they are, they get crazy obsessed with you. And the first thing that came to mind was like true crime. It doesn't matter if you're into true crime or not, you could be, but it's just that sense of like they're into, like, you're like, oh, like I really like true crime, you know, and they're like, oh, me too, oh my gosh. And then they like, you know what I mean? People feel a lot of validation and people feel a lot of excitement when they're able to relate to you in some way, because once again, there's people that want to understand you and there's people that really want to get into your circle because they see you as a very powerful person and somebody who is capable of quite a bit, especially through like rest and recuperation. I almost wonder if you're like that person that like talks to everybody and you're like funny and like humorous and then like you disappear for like 3 months to like recharge in your bedroom and eat nothing but Cheez-It Puffs. At least that's what I do. And then you come back out and it's time to be the funny friend again. Oh my gosh, I love those memes where like, I remember there's this meme of this guy like walking out of like his apartment complex and Thank You Next by Ariana Granola was playing and the caption was like, when you're done being depressed AF and it's time for you to be the funny friend again. I feel like that's so like your aesthetic. It doesn't matter if you actually embody that energy. Maybe some of you do. Let me see what else. We also have Knight of Knives. That is kind of a tongue twister. Say that 5 times fast. Knight of Knives. No, I can't. And Three of Bottles. Yeah, I think the Three of Bottles definitely once again indicates the fact that you may be in fact a very socially intelligent person. I think you're amazing at reading the room, or you're somebody who is very good at catering to people. I almost wonder if you know exactly what to say to people and like you know what you was doing, Pile 4. Like, I feel like when you're talking to people, you know exactly what to say to get them all excited about you or like make them like you, you know? I almost wonder if sometimes with like this Knight of Knives energy, you're like, oh my gosh, you people are so easy, you know? That makes me think of like Scorpio plus like an earth sign or an air sign. I feel like Scorpio plus like Gemini or Capricorn or even Virgo just makes this kind of person that's like, oh my gosh, people are so easy. Like, I just don't get it, you know? Like, you guys are such simpletons, you know? And I just feel like, you know, even if you don't have that perspective, it's just a sense of like you really have no problem figuring people out. I don't think that you're the kind of person that can be lied to. I feel like you can sniff out a lie before the lie even exists in anyone's minds, you know? And with the Knight of Knives, I just feel like there's this energy of, once again, you being the kind of person that isn't afraid to say what's going on, you know? I feel like you're very honest and very blunt, but also in a very charming way. You could have like a very charming Mars placement, or even like an aspect between Venus and Mars. But I just feel like maybe you have like a Mars in Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, just something that suggests that you're able to say things very bluntly, but also in a very charming and likable way, you know? There's just something about you that's very diplomatic and something about you that seems very transparent and very trustworthy. I feel like there's a lot of people that trust you right from the get-go, you know? And I also feel like with the three of bottles, like once again, back to the whole thing about you being a very sociable person, I don't think that necessarily, I feel like you're one of those people that like has trouble pinning down as to whether or not you're an introvert or extrovert. You could be like an extroverted introvert or like an introverted extrovert, or you're just kind of one of those people that's like, it really depends on who I'm talking to, you know? And I feel like with that being said, it's just the fact that it once again proves that you're a very complex person and somebody who is not, you can't really categorize you into one specific group of people, because I feel like your identity and the way like you fit in with others is very different. Like I just feel like you're like your own, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like you have trouble relating to other people or something like that, or something, I don't know. It's not like you aren't relatable or something, but it's just that you feel as if though a lot of people don't understand your vibe, as I was saying in the beginning, you know? And because of that, I just feel like with your specific energy, I think that you attract a lot of people that are very obsessed with you and almost cult like. I almost wonder if there's people like when people have been obsessed with you, considering the nature of this deck, I feel like it's been an unhealthy obsession, or you may not realize it, but okay, listen. I told this story to every single pile. I'm going to tell it to you too. Whether or not you believe someone is obsessed with you, someone has been. There are people that are obsessed with you. And my proof, I told this little anecdote to every pile, but freshman year of high school, I remember there was this person in my health class. I was literally so obsessed with him, you guys. I would watch him play 2048 on his Chromebook and watch him play Plants vs. Zombies on his phone every single day. Like, I would just like stare at him full on, because he sat like, okay, so this is my chair, then there's a chair right here on, you know, on my left, and then there's another chair here, and this was his seat. And I remember I would sit there every single day. I was so into him, but the world will never know. He will never know. I never spoke a single word to him. I never spoke a sentence to him. He didn't even look at me, okay? And to this day, he will never know that. You know what I mean? It's just like, the cat will never be out of the bag. The cat's still in the bag. You know, it's just, I'm saying that because it's true. There have been people that get full-blown obsessed with you, and you will never know. And that's kind of what inspired this reading, honestly. But yeah, I just feel like with the Three of Bottles and the Magician card, I feel like you are able to dominate social scenes here. I feel like when you walk into a room, you're like a showstopper. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people like look at you, you know? Or like, if you watch my other videos, I'm sure you know what I mean, because I feel like there's always that one pile that kind of embodies that energy, and I'm always saying like people probably look at you a lot. But I just feel like you bring a very potent energy to the room, and I feel like people like, they can't relax around you unless they actually know you, you know? So I almost wonder if people get nervous around you, or they get visibly tense around you. And I feel like this, once again, like, it plays into this obsession factor, you know? Like, I feel like the people that do know you and kind of realize how you affect other people, it kind of like fuels them even more, you know what I mean? And I also feel like with the Three of Bottles, considering the nature of this deck, I feel like you're also one of those people that's like super fun, and you don't have to like be under the influence or anything, especially if you do have any of the placements that I pointed out. I just feel like you're a very charismatic person and somebody who is able to really turn on the charm. And yeah, I don't know, like, you're just, you know how to talk to people, you know how to get people to like you, you know? What else? We also have Justice. Yeah, Libra is definitely significant here. You could have like I feel like you have like one of those goofy birth charts, or like some of you might have that goofy birth chart where you have like a lot of like these intense placements, like, you know, like Capricorn, Scorpio, and stuff like that, in like Virgo, or, you know, just like Cancer and Pisces, and then your sun's like Libra or something. So it's like you come off as very charming and likable, and somebody who is like very diplomatic, and somebody who doesn't have a problem navigating social situations. But then like in the grand scheme of things, it's just like there is in fact something about you that's deeper and more emotional, and something that's maybe even a little bit darker, you know, something that's not what it seems, you know. I just feel like with the Magician card and Justice card, there's something about you that suggests that like you come off as very diplomatic and very sociable, very likable. Like you are a very likable person, pile 4. I feel like you know this too. That's like, and I think that you use it to your advantage at times. I don't know. And maybe it's not all the time do you realize that you're doing that, but I just feel like it's one of those things that is just very prevalent about you when you walk into a room. I feel like there's something also about your appearance that's very elegant, very suave, and very likable. And when I say likable, it's just that like you have like a very eclectic style, you know? I feel like there's a lot of people that get obsessed with your wardrobe or people that get obsessed with how you dress. So you may have had a lot of people that are like, "Hey, like where'd you get that? Like, hey, where'd you get your rings? Where'd you get your clothes, your pants, your shirts, your earrings, whatever, you know?" Something about the way you accessorize and something about the way that you dress is very influential and very eclectic, and people are all over it, you know? So I feel like you could have like a very interesting Venus placement. So you could have like an earthy or watery Venus or even airy, you know? It doesn't even matter what placement you have in the Venus. I feel like all Venus signs are very different and they can all bring something else to the table. But I just feel like for you, the way you express like yourself, at least through fashion, is very different and it's very alternative almost, you know? I feel like not a lot of people like dress the way you do, you know? Simply because either A, not many people can pull off what you are able to pull off, or B, people just don't think outside the box just like you do, you know? So yeah, I also just feel like, you know, I feel like Venus is very significant here because we have Justice, and Justice is ruled by Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus, you know? It's just, I feel like it all ties together, you know? There's a lot of connections here, but I do think that Libra is very significant here. I almost wonder if you're like a Scorpio moon with like a Libra sun. I know a lot of people with those placements are always like, yeah, like I'm fierce, I'm crazy, I'm dark, and then like their Libra sun's like, girl, no, you ain't, you know? Or at least I feel like that's how those people feel, you know? And I just feel like Venus plus Scorpio is just like, it just like creates a lot of like different things. Like comment down below if you have like a Venus plus Scorpio in your chart, because I'm a Scorpio sun, Taurus moon, and like I don't know, I just like wanted to throw that out there, you know? Like I hope you don't like mind, but you know, I just feel like with the Justice card too, people also love the way you assert yourself, or people feel like you're a very intelligible person. I feel like people get obsessed with you because they feel like they want you on their side, or they want you to agree with them. Once again, with that validation thing I was talking about earlier, I feel like there's something about you that's just like, people know that you see things for what they are, and people know that you aren't afraid to say things for exactly what it is, you know? I feel like if your friend's in the wrong, you're not gonna be like, oh, no, you'll be like, you're dumb and you're wrong, you know? Maybe not that aggressively, but you know, maybe some of you do. I know that I yell at my friends when they're in the wrong like that. But I just feel like the Justice card really tells me that you're a very diplomatic person and you're able to consider everyone's feelings, even if they are the enemy or even if they are on the opposing side. So I just feel like with that being said, people are very obsessed with your validation and very, you know, like drawn to you because of the fact that you look at things from an objective point of view, and they know that when you say something or when you know, state your opinion or perspective on things, it's 100% the truth and it's very indifferent, you know? And so it's like, I feel like there's a lot of people that try to like get you on their side or like persuade you or like kind of charm you, you know? And I feel like sometimes you like, I feel like it's kind of funny because maybe you let them do that, or you like to let them believe that they're doing that, you know? There's just something about you that just shows that like you're able to read people's like intentions, and they may think they're being slick about it, but they're really not, you know? And I feel like you find it just as funny as I do, you know, in the sense that like you're able to just beautifully and expertly navigate social situations and, you know, like navigate people's intentions and words, you know. My nose gets so runny during readings, it's kind of weird. We also have King of Bottles. Yeah, I definitely think that the water signs are very significant here. So Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, especially Scorpio. I feel like I've been saying Scorpio over and over throughout this entire reading. And I just feel like the King of Bottles, once again, goes back to the fact that you're a very emotionally intelligent person, or just like an intelligent person in general. I just feel like the emotional intelligence is what's coming up with this King of Bottles here. And I feel like you're able to look at things from like a very, like, I don't know, like the way you show compassion and the way you express your love is it's very sweet and it's very like considerate, you know. I feel like the way you're able to empathize with people is something else. And I feel like maybe with that being said, maybe you could have attracted a lot of emotionally unavailable people or a lot of people that are very detached, because I feel like a lot of people get obsessed with the way that they're able to evoke emotions in you, especially like people that are probably no longer part of your life because of this. But I feel like there's a lot of people that got off on the way that you were able to express emotion or the way you felt, you know? So, like, you know, at its worst, it could be people triggering you or people saying things to you because they like loved seeing you get, you know, like annoyed, or they loved seeing you get angry or like emotional, you know. But at its best, people loved, you know, like showering you of gifts or taking care of you because they loved the way that they could see that you genuinely appreciated, you know, from the heart, you know. And I just feel like there's a lot of people that don't really see your emotionality, or they sense that your emotions run very deep, you know? And I feel like I've also been saying emotions a lot more than feelings, you know? There's just something about that, you know? Like, it just once again goes back to the fact that the way you go about things is so different than what other people do, or how other people perceive reality, or how others just navigate their feelings, you know? And I just feel like that really does. I feel like everything that I said in this reading is extremely intentional. Not that like they aren't usually, you know, but I just feel like in this sense, it's just like everything that I've said is just, you know what I mean? Like, you speak with a lot of conviction, is what I'm trying to say here. You're a very like determined person and somebody with very clear intentions when it comes to your feelings, how you express them. And I just feel like everything about you is very intentional, you know, the way you dress, the way you say things, where you live, who you associate with, you know. You don't do things mindlessly. You aren't a mindless person. You aren't careless. And everything that you do and everything that you said, everything about you is it's very intentional. It was on purpose, you know. It wasn't a coincidence, or it wasn't just, you know, it's just there was something that called you to do it. And I feel like people are very obsessed with this about you because they know that like you're not a fake person. You're very genuine, even to a fault at times, because people may realize that like maybe sometimes you at your most like vulnerable form can be very visceral, can be very dark, can be very deep, you know, and even treacherous, you know. So I almost wonder if you have like a mutable moon with like a fixed sun. So like a Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, or Aquarius sun with like a Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, or Virgo moon, you know? And, you know, once again, it doesn't matter if you have any of these placements. I just feel like it's fun to say them and it's fun to see like what I'm feeling about them. And, you know, sometimes they resonate with you guys. So I'm gonna keep saying them, you know? Let's pull another card. We also have Ace of Knives. Okay, the way I read this card is very different from any other Ace of Swords, because the way like these fingers are being like chopped, I know this imagery is kind of gruesome. I don't think you guys mind, at least at this point. I hope not. But I feel like with the Ace of Knives, something about you is very out of reach. There's something about you that people are always reaching for, but they will not be able to. Because, you know, like the way, I don't know, like just something about this hand just shows me that it was reaching for something and it was stopped cold in its tracks. And I feel like with the King of Bottles, I feel like you have like this intense reservoir within your heart that a lot of people try to get to. A lot of other emotionally manipulative people that try to get to. I feel like you've had a lot of like other emotional people try to get to you. I feel like I just feel like two emotional people together is like very volatile, and it's very like, it's like a ship in like a freak wave, you know. It's very unstable. It can be very scary, but I feel like when it's really good, it's like amazing. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm saying that because it seems as if though like a lot of other emotional people have unconsciously tried manipulating you, and I feel like because of the way you're very sensitive to these things, and because you're very sensitive in general when it comes to external stimuli, I just feel like you've had to cut off a lot of emotional people, or a lot of people that couldn't handle their own feelings or emotional natures just as well as you could, despite the fact that you may be the same. And I just feel like these people get very obsessed with you very quickly because you're able to relieve, you're able to heal, you're able to bring solace in the midst of chaos because, you learned how to do that for yourself. So I just feel like you're able to bring that relief to other people. And I feel like other people have treated it like a vice or treated it like an addiction to where they feel like they need you. And I feel like there's been a lot of people that get very codependent of you. And I just feel like that alone is just obsession in its most like truest form, if you know what I mean. This is the second round of sirens in your reading. What does this mean, pile 4? We also have the star. Once again with this Aquarius energy that I mentioned earlier with the fixed signs. Aquarius could be significant here. Maybe in the Venus sign. But I just feel like with the star card, it just once again proves the fact that you're somebody who brings solace. You're somebody who brings hope and beauty to almost anything. I feel like the star card, people always see it as like a very inspirational healing card. But I always see it as like, like in the movies when the North Star appears and they're like, oh, just follow the star, go towards the star. It's that kind of vibe, like I feel like it brings hope, it brings serenity, it brings a new adventure, something like that, it sheds light on a path that otherwise would not have been seen. And I feel like that's something that you embody and something that you're able to bring. And I feel like the more people get to know you, the more obsessed they get because they see that you are a very, like pulpy, very soft and vulnerable person, And it makes me think of like, this is such a weird analogy, you guys, but it makes me think of like palm trees or like the heart of the palm and how there's like a bunch of beetles that like try to like get to the heart of the palm and they'll like dig through it, Like I remember I watched this video and like palm trees and like there's like these weevils that like dig into it to get to the heart of the palm. They like lay their eggs in it. It's like really gross, but that's like what it makes me think of is the sense that like your heart is very precious and it's very sweet and very like I don't know why, but like I just want to keep saying the word nutritious, but I just feel like that's such a gross way to describe one's heart. But like you know what I mean? It's just like you're very healing and you're very like just like there's a lot of beauty inside of you that a lot of people can feel. And like I feel like this applies to the emotional people and they really want to get to it. They want to know you at a deeper level. They want to know more about you. And detached people just want to get to know more about you and see how you would react, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm just going to sum up your reading. I feel like pile 4, the reason people are obsessed with you is because you are living in your complete truth and you're a very genuine person. And because of that, it's just very hard to come by people like you. And there's a lot of people that are intimidated by it too. So I feel like a lot of the people that are obsessed with you like keep their distance because they can't handle the fact that they themselves are like fake and they realize that if they came towards you, it would shed a lot of light on them that they aren't like on things that they aren't willing to see. But I feel like there's something about you that shows that you have a heart of gold and that despite all your darkness and despite all of your shadows and what you have dealt with in this lifetime, there's something about you that's very sweet and very healing and very vulnerable and very powerful and formidable in a way. And it makes me think of like a large body of water, It's just like, it seems calm, but it's able to like destroy things, And also, you're a very sociable person and you know exactly what to say in situations. You're very diplomatic and there's probably a lot of people that try to talk you onto their side or try to like get you to agree with them, Because there's just a lot of people that know that you see things objectively and that you aren't afraid to say things exactly how they are. And because of that, there's a lot of people that get obsessed with your opinion. I almost wonder if some people like they could get the approval of 100 people, but if they don't have your approval, it's just like completely meaningless, like failed mission. So yeah, that's all I have for you, Pile 4. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the reading resonated, and if it did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like a personal reading, I do offer those in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below in the description box. Other than that, thank you so much for watching again. I love you. Bye.